Thank you. And thank you for attending this presentation right before lunch, so I promise that I won't keep you too far. But basically, this is a yearly presentation that we give to give a status and update on OSGeo and our interactions with OGC, or the Open Geospatial Consortium. So we've come quite a way, and let's see if I can make that slideshow mode to make that a bit... yes. So I'll give an overview of where we are with the collaboration between OSGeo and OGC, as well as discuss recent activities, code sprints that we've been participating in, and future plans, and how to actually get involved in OGC and the OSGeo Standards Committee. So why do standards matter? Standards matter because interoperability doesn't happen by accident, as mentioned by Cliff Cotman of OGC. This is an actual picture, at least the picture on the left with the blue, of Angelos and I. Angelos Tsotsos is the president of OSGeo, and we were driving together to FOSS4G 2023 from Greece to Kosovo, and we had a flat. So we were stuck in the middle of the city in Pristina, I think. And no language. There was a huge language barrier, but somehow we were able to get to a garage and get this tire changed and get back up and running. So that's something to say. That there's something to be said around standards and being able to interoperate. Anyways, we were on our way. That was a great event, just like this event. So OSGeo and OGC have been collaborating for quite some time. There was an initial Memorandum of Understanding, I think in the late 2000s. It was updated in January of 2022. So there are a number of items in the detail that had to get updated. So we gave it a refresh in 2022, and there was a press release and so on. So the big change with OSGeo's participation to OGC was that previously OSGeo participation was provided through 5 or 6 different slots, members. So we can only fill those slots and nothing more. And the membership, so you basically received an OGC membership through OSGeo, and you would participate where you needed to. This MOU provides OSGeo with an organizational membership. So this is for all of OSGeo. So we no longer have limits on slots or number of seats that we can use while participating at OGC. So that is available to anyone who is in OSGeo, who is a charter member. You can be part of OGC and participate through OSGeo. That is the nuance that we want to make, that we want to highlight here, is that you are representing OSGeo by participating in OGC with this new membership. So this is very helpful because we have the opportunity to get a lot more of us involved, to help pave the way for standards and drive them with our open source software that we do in OSGeo. We also other highlights of the MOU was we specifically mentioned joint code sprints. So this is something we never had in the past, but started in 2020 or 2021, if I'm not mistaken, where we start to have joint code sprints, not only an OSGeo code sprint, not only a OGC code sprint, but a joint OSGeo, OGC, and Apache Software Foundation code sprint. This is highlighted in the MOU that we want to be able to collaborate with these things. So there's typically one joint code sprint per year, and that is highlighted in the MOU. The other part that the MOU highlights is the fact that we should start pushing more OSGeo software or FOSS4G software that our community develops and maintains as reference implementations for OGC standards, which is valuable for helping the OGC standards, and it's valuable for us getting that stamp of approval from OGC for compliance. And we promise to the other highlight of the MOU was to discuss and move forward outreach activities. The sprints are one of them, but there's also events such as this event, or OGC member meetings, or technical committee meetings, as they used to be called. So the full details are in the link below, and you can take a look at that at your leisure. what have we been up to? So we report on the OSGeo and OGC collaboration every year. So what has happened since the last FOSS4G? Just as a recap, as part of creating the MOU, we rebooted the OSGeo Standards Committee, and we rebooted it in December of 2022. So later on in the year, and this is for all standards, not only OGC standards, but also ISO and other organizations. So that committee continues to operate. We meet on an as-needed basis. Our next meeting is on the 5th of December, and it's obviously open to anybody who wants to join. If you want to be part of the OSGeo Standards Committee, you simply sign up. There's all the details on the wiki page, and we do have a mailing list. So since last year, we continue to operate in the Standards Committee, and we've had some recent discussions in OSGeo on possible standards that we've built as part of our software that could be put forth as community standards in OGC. As you can see, we have a number of members actively participating in OGC. So we participate on a number of different standards working groups in OGC. So these are the implementation and the definition of the actual standards, such as the OGC APIs, as well as domain working groups, which is basically the applications of those standards to a domain. So meteorology and oceanography, or MetOcean, is one domain working group. Hydrology is another one. You get the idea. We continue to attend the OGC member meetings representing OSGeo, participating in all the different working groups. And we have a number of OSGeo projects that are deemed OGC certified compliant, which we'll highlight near the end of the presentation. In 2024, we had a hybrid joint sprint between OGC, OSGeo, and Apache Software Foundation held in Évora in Portugal. So it was hybrid. Some people were in the room face to face, and some of us were online. But that was a very valuable exercise, and a lot of different. It's great because not only do you have developers from OSGeo projects or FOSS4G projects that we work on. Those people are in the room, but also the actual people that are writing the standards are in the room. So it's a really good opportunity to have that cross-pollination between standards developers and software developers, and see how these standards really work. Because you need software to implement the standards, and it's great to have that close collaboration because, hey, I can be writing software. I found something that needs updating in your standard, so why can't we let's work together to do an amendment to the standard, or vice versa, where you might find something out about a standard and say, oh, I need to implement it in this certain way in my resulting software. So lots of open source projects, lots of standards editors, and OGC folks in the room. After that, during that week, so the joint code sprint they're typically 3-day code sprints. And after that code sprint, we actually held a PyGeo API dedicated code sprint just because most of us were already there. So we decided to have a 2-day sprint. So I just wanted to put that in there. So it's a good opportunity as well, if you are going to assemble some of your community at this joint sprint, to have a follow-on meeting, just the same at the event. And the event that hosted the code sprint in this case gave us the venue for an additional 2 days. So this is a really good opportunity to put meetings beside each other if as required, or sprinting for a specific project. Later on, we had an open standards hybrid event. So all the OGC sprints are hybrid. You do not need to physically be there. You can be online. They operate via Discord. Or you can attend in person. We had a hybrid event in the UK, in London, and we had work done on MapML, AI, training data markup language, data validators, and data quality. So a lot of good work was being done in the summer of 2024 in London. That was great. Number of different projects, whether it was QGIS, PyGeo API, GeoServer, and friends. Usually there's a good complement of open source software that are participating at these sprints. So a lot of these projects participate in the OSGeo community sprints. We had one in Riga in Latvia a couple of months ago. But when we're participating at the joint sprint, it's a bit more focused on the actual standards implementation, whether it's a server, a client, a parser, a decoder, an encoder, or what have you. Next steps. So in terms of next steps, there are some code sprints being planned. We did not have a joint code sprint in 2025 for a number of planning reasons. There were just too many things happening at the same time and too close to one another. But we have marked out the following schedule for 2026. So this is in collaboration between OSGeo, OGC, and Apache Software Foundation. So there will be a sprint in Fort Collins in Colorado in January. I think it's at the end of January, if I'm not mistaken. That's Q1. Q2, we'll have a sprint in the UK again at Geovation at Sutton Yard in London. And then there will be another sprint in Barcelona in Q3. So again, these are for hybrid participation if you want to come in person and participate, or if you want to be online. I think they're really valuable exercises to see how the specs actually work and testing of the implementations of them. So the last sprint was in October of 2025, which was last month, and that was in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. So here you can see a cross-pollination of all the specifications involved and the various pieces of software that were used. So PyGeo API was one of them, QGIS, and so on. So heavy use and testing of the actual standards in the software implementations. OSGeo is a natural partner and a natural spot for collaborating with OSG with OGC. You can see that we have a number of different reference implementations that implement the OGC standards. So PyGeo API is one of them. Degree is another one. Zoo Project is another one. There are many others that are implementing these standards in OGC, and they are deemed as reference implementations. So OGC, that's one of the reasons for the MOU, because OGC sees the value in OSGeo in our community in terms of software development and supporting the standards through free software. So how can you get involved? You've heard about OGC, OSGeo, obviously, all this week. If you have an interest in standards or the application of those standards, you can join the standards committee. So to be part of OGC, you can join the standards committee as a charter member. You need to be an OSGeo charter member to be part of the standards committee, and to have access to OGC, to the OGC membership. So join the committee, and feel free to participate in OGC, participate in standards working groups or domain working groups, and lead them as well. Make your software OGC compliant. There's a large compliance program at OGC, so I think it behooves us to have compliant OGC software. Lead and participate in the code sprints. If you have tools that you want to test the OGC standards on, feel free to attend the code sprints and participate in them. It's a really positive group, passionate group of experts that are working on all these things, and I wouldn't miss one. They're really, really interesting events. And also, we want to make sure that OSGeo's voice is heard at OGC, which means our requirements for standardization and making sure that the standards that are being put out actually meet our needs as well. To participate, OGC used to have what was called the OGC portal. We now have something called Agora in OGC, which is Greek for market. But basically what happens here is that this is a sort of modernized way of interacting in OGC. So once you get an OGC membership through OSGeo, you'll be given access to the Agora portal, and you can see all sorts of different things that are happening in the different standards working groups or domain working groups. And this is our main interaction point for OGC, and OSGeo has access to that. Some more future events that OGC will be at that have implications on OSGeo and our software. There's OGC iDays that's next month in Germany, followed by OGC Rainbow Design Sprint. So Rainbow is OGC's attempt at coming up with a new vocabulary API being able to do vocabularies and link data registries of them. So there will be a sprint, a one-day sprint on the 11th to work on this in the same location following iDays. There is also now OGC training that's made available. So basically, you can get onto the Agora portal and take this training, and it's a free course and it's an exam, and provided you pass the exam, you get a certification. So do get in touch with myself or Joanna from who's on the OSGeo board, and she's the Joanna Simos, who's the OGC developer relations contact, to find out more about this course. And there will be other courses being developed in the future for other OGC standards. So this is a new approach that OGC is taking to help lower the barrier to learning these standards. So again, we encourage all of you to participate as much as you can in this community. It makes sense for us to put value into standardization so that we can measure twice and cut once. Many different ways to collaborate. You can actually get funding from OGC through our membership. So you can apply when OGC has a test bed or a pilot, and you can receive funding to help develop your software product or to move your software forward. So there's funding opportunities there, and you can work within the standards committee to get your product certified at OGC as well. So reach out to the OSGeo Standards Committee. There's some links in the previous slide, or go directly to the Agora portal on the OGC website. The OGC memberships themselves have been refactored in recent years, and they've been refactored in a way to make things a bit more appealing for developers. So now you can have a developer membership at OGC for $100 per year, which is very good compared to a big change compared to what's been done in the past. So this is a really positive step, and it's a clear signal to us as a free and open source software community that depends on our software to lower the barrier for our participation there, in addition to the standards committee. Going to stop there, and hopefully this was useful, and any questions or comments are greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that, Tom. That was awesome. Do we have any questions?
Thanks, Tom. I saw the ISO TC211 in there, and that's not necessarily OGC, right? That's ISO.
Right. So I'm glad you brought up ISO. We specifically focus on OGC in this presentation, but the Standards Committee, the OSGeo Standards Committee, includes ISO participation. Okay. So we have a liaison with TC211, and we have access to participate in the working groups as we need to for ISO. I think, for example, GeoCat recently accessed one of the working groups to have to take a look at the ISO 19115 JSON metadata standard. So we have access to the ISO as well.
Another question about participation, and this part of the world has difficulty traveling to North America and Europe to participate in these meetings. You said something about travel grants and also hybrid participation. Do you guys want to have in-person attendees? Do you want to have a network around the world to attend, or do you just want more interaction?
Good question. At some of the sprints have travel funding. The sprints themselves, when OGC announces the sprint, they will advertise whether funding is available. Obviously, that requires sponsorship. So if there is sponsorship, the travel will be available, and you apply for travel funding, and then it's evaluated. Participation. I know it's difficult for this part of the world. We did have one fellow from Australia whose name escapes me at the moment, and he came in person, and he quite honestly, he said it's much more valuable coming here because of all the time difference for obvious reasons. Having said that, they are hybrid, and we encourage both in-person if possible and hybrid participation. In a previous sprint, I think the sprint before the Rotterdam sprint, there was one in March that was hybrid. we actually set up stations. So I mean, India had like a small group of people at a certain venue. Portugal had a small group of people at a certain venue. So there's that aspect to it as well. So if you cannot get to the sprint per se, but you have a bunch of local people and you want to get together, you can participate as a group, which gives a bunch of collaboration opportunities just the same. Yeah.
Okay, another question for me then.
Yeah.
OGC member meetings happen 2 or 3 or 4 times a year, right?
Yeah.
So I can, most people have OGC membership through their employer, but people like me, anyone here could go to these OGC member meetings under OSGeo if we wanted to.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you can attend. We're able to attend. You would basically send, once you're part of the standards committee and part of, and you get an OGC membership applied, then you would send a message to the standards committee saying, hey, I want to attend this event. And you basically get a slot, and they would get a ticket, and life would go on. So yeah, we are able to participate in OGC member meetings via the OSGeo membership. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you. Thank you very much.